It's been an exciting week as Toyota begins to release more and more teaser images of the upcoming 2024 Toyota Tacoma, but there's also a lot of confusion and misunderstanding about what this Tacoma might mean to the market and exactly what it's going to offer. So let me demystify and clarify what is going on with the new Tacoma, but also talk about all the other products that are coming down the pipeline which will be impacted by what we find out about the Tacoma, including the Land Cruiser Prado, the Toyota 4RUNNER, and maybe even the Lexus GX. So let's get right into it. I do want to talk about three things that are important to me. One is to demystify some speculation and rumors about the 2024 Tacoma that I think is being incorrectly explained by a number of different outlets. Second, to talk about what's happening with the Land Cruiser Prado. And third, what is going to then happen to the new generation of 4RUNNER. Those are things that are dear to my heart and I believe is important to you as well. So right off the bat, let's first talk about the new Tacoma and the teaser images. Now that we have seen several teaser images, you know that the dates are coming closer and closer to the official reveal. If you recall way back with the 2022 Toyota Tundra reveal, Toyota showed exactly 12 images prior to the final release. But a lot of people were not happy with the prolonged reveal and teaser images, so I believe that maybe Toyota will showcase another 5 or 6 images at the most before a final reveal. And if we were to assume that they will show maybe one teaser image per week, I think my best guess in terms of when we can see the final version of the entire product is about 5 to 6 weeks away. I knew that when I saw the 040423 license plate in the previous teaser. I knew that it couldn't be the final reveal because Toyota would want to kind of tease us for several weeks before the final reveal. Secondly, I wanted to point out a few things that are confusing everyone, and that is the name iFORCE Max that you can see clearly on the bottom right of the tailgate of the Tacoma teaser image. And people are saying, does that mean it's the same engine as a Tundra 3.4 liter twin turbo hybrid system because the name is same, as opposed to the name that Toyota has been using for 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder hybrid, which they are officially calling Hybrid Max in such cars as the Crown and also now in the Grand Highlander. Well, from my perspective, there's no way they're going to put a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6 hybrid system, even if it's detuned version of it, in a Tacoma. There's just too much power and torque for a much smaller vehicle compared to Tundra. So you can forget the idea of having a turbocharged V6 engine in the Tacoma. I am 100% sure that is not going to happen. From my perspective, the iFORCE Max is simply the name that Toyota is using to describe all the hybrid system for a truck-based vehicle such as the Tacoma, Tundra, and perhaps the 4RUNNER and Land Cruiser to come in the future. So in my opinion, it's going to be the 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with the hybrid system, but the hybrid system will be different from something like a Lexus RX, which is what I'm driving right now, because they're not going to have a separate e-axle or rear wheel based motor in the back. It's going to be more like the Tundra, where the electric motor will be sandwiched between the engine and the transmission and acting as a sort of a sequential system, as opposed to a system that they're using for the RX, the Crown, and the Grand Highlander, and so forth. So it will be the same 2.4 liter turbocharged engine, but the hybrid system will be different than any other models that we have seen so far. So that clarifies the engine and the powertrain. Now, what about things like the color? Some people are saying that the color they showed in the TRD Pro version of Tacoma looks like kind of pastel blue or light cement color, and therefore that must be the new TRD Pro color. No, I don't think so. I think it's simply a white color that is reflecting some light and it's dusty from whatever the environment might be. It looks kind of off-white. But historically speaking, Toyota has always shown some of these teaser images in a white color because they don't want you to know the TRD Pro exclusive color yet. Just like Tundra, we didn't get to see the solar octane color until much later, and they show the Tundra in the white version. So I think what we're seeing right now is simply the regular white color that is already available in many Toyota models, and they don't want us to know what the TRD Pro color is, which, by the way, I predicted to be some kind of blue-ish color, as I have talked about in my previous video, because lately Toyota is showing a lot of cars with a blue color, and so my guesstimate is that somehow blue is going to be the trendy push by Toyota to enhance the color lineup. So I think the new TRD Pro color will be some kind of a blue hue, but who knows? We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Finally, this teaser image confirms once and for all that the top power plant for Tacoma TRD Pro will not be naturally aspirated V6 engine, as rumored by a number of people in different forums. And I keep saying for the last year or so that there's no way Toyota would continue to carry over the V6 engine from the current Tacoma onto a new one. It just makes no sense at all in terms of Toyota's strategy, that they're trying to downsize the engine and the powertrain in the name of efficiency and also to move toward a carbon neutral society, as Toyota has forecasted for many years down the road. So I knew that V6 will not be carried over to Tacoma, but somehow that rumors keep surfacing in a number of different outlets, and I keep trying to confirm that it doesn't make sense in terms of where Toyota is going. So finally we can put that aside and once and for all know that all forms of six-cylinder engine is gone for Tacoma for good, for better or worse. Now I am driving the 2.4 liter turbocharged non-hybrid version of the RX right now, which should be the same engine that we're going to perhaps the base Tacoma. And you know what, for the most part, it's performed just fine. It's peppy, lots of torque, it's got lots of get up and go, it's very smooth and refined. But yes, it does not feel like a V6 engine. There is a difference in terms of feel, but in terms of pure acceleration and torque and ability to pull the vehicle forward, well, there's plenty of power and torque. In fact, the performance should improve compared to the predecessor. So I don't think you need to worry about the performance compromises when the new Tacoma comes out. But for those of you who love the naturally aspirated feel, well, yes, the new one will definitely feel different. So now on to more hot topics, which is the Land Cruiser Prado and the Toyota 4RUNNER. Well, a few things are surfacing from Japan, including one interesting note, and that is the Land Cruiser Prado, or whatever it's going to be called in North America, will likely have 3 different types of front design. The Best Car magazine in Japan is saying that one of those 3 designs will have a very retro look with a round headlights to compete with the likes of Ford Bronco, Jeep Wrangler, and also the Land Rover Defender look. So perhaps that could be the model that we get here in North America. But they're also saying there'll be 2 other designs in the front, one looking more conventional and more traditional, probably more like a Toyota Land Cruiser 300 series that are sold in Asia. And the 3rd design, they're saying that it will have a little bit more of a modern design. So that could be maybe the GR version or a sporty version. So it could have kind of like a blacked out look or blacked out grille with a different design, just like we see in the Land Cruiser right now, which is once again not sold in North America anymore. So those are some interesting things about Land Cruiser Prado. I'm also hearing from Japan that the entire product life cycle has been pushed out. So instead of a Land Cruiser maybe showing up in the summer of this year, it could be pushed out by several months. So maybe end of the year we will get to see a preview of the Land Cruiser Prado, which will likely be just called Land Cruiser here in North America. But I'm almost 100% sure it is not the larger Land Cruiser 300 series that will come here, but the smaller Land Cruiser Prado, which is almost identical to the Lexus GX, because the Land Cruiser Prado and the GX are basically twin models. Now what about the powertrain? Well, the Land Cruiser Prado will likely have a detuned version of the 3.4 liter turbocharged V6 engine that is currently in the Land Cruiser 300 series, and that'll be very welcoming because we will at least have one TNGA-F-based SUV with a V6 engine, and we won't lose V6 engine altogether, because maybe the next generation 4RUNNER will likely adopt the same engine as the Tacoma, which will be the 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. So what about the 4RUNNER? Well, I'm hearing more and more that the 4RUNNER is also pushed out due to many reasons, including the chip shortages, which is still affecting the auto industry, as well as the fact that there's just too many orders for many products in Japan, and they cannot keep up with those demands for the new Land Cruiser and even the existing Land Cruiser Prado. So they have to push the whole product lineup further and further out. So probably the 6th generation 4RUNNER will not come out until, let's say, summer of 2024 calendar year, to be released at the end of 2024 calendar year. So sometime toward that last quarter of 2024 or early 2025 is when we can finally expect the 6th generation 4RUNNER, which I still believe will be built in Japan and not moving to Mexico, as once again rumored by a number of different outlets. And I believe in this because the 4RUNNER shares too many components and platform with the likes of Land Cruiser Prado and Lexus GX, and all those models will remain at the Tahara factory in Japan. So it doesn't make any sense at all to move only the 4RUNNER to Mexico when the Mexico factories, and there are 2 of them, are absolutely tapped to the full with the Tacoma production. They're going to be very busy with the Tacoma launch and Tacoma lineup, and it makes no sense at all for Toyota to move the 4Runner production all the way to Mexico with no capacity to build them at the two Mexican factory. And that's something that I've been saying for the last 12 months or 16 months. Even though some people didn't agree with me, I'm still sticking with that story. And I really believe that the Land Cruiser Prado needs to be built in Tahara to protect that image of best-in-class quality, because it's built at some of the best factories in Japan. And as you know, I've been to Tahara factory many times, and I stand by their quality 100%, because I own a Lexus GX, and guess what? I just purchased second Lexus GX for our fleet. So we now have two Lexus GX, both built in Tahara factory, perhaps the best factory in the world. And so that brings up the last question, which is, when is the new Lexus GX coming? Well, that is not going to come out until the new Land Cruiser Prado is first released. It doesn't make any sense to release the more expensive version of the Prado. So if the Prado has been pushed out several months, then so would the Lexus GX. So let's assume for a moment that maybe spring time frame of the 2024 when the new GX will come out, which will be super exciting because I'm going to keep the V8 powered Lexus GX for now. But if I really like the new GX, I might trade in at least one of the two GX to the brand new model with a 3.4 liter twin turbo V6, and from what I'm hearing, very retro looking design, which will be really exciting. So many new TNGA F platform models are coming out in the next several months and beyond, and of course I'm going to keep you up to date as much as I can. And I'm going to Japan again in May, so hopefully I'll hear more stories from different sources. I can't share with you anything confidential, but I can always share with you my personal opinion and my professional perspective on what's happening with all these models, and that's something I really enjoy doing. So for now I'm going to sign off, but I look forward to talking to you more about the Tacoma, the 4Runner, the Land Cruiser Prado, the Lexus GX, which are all truck-based, body-on-the-frame SUVs that is close to my heart. And hopefully all these new models will be absolutely amazing to drive and own. Until next video, I'm signing off for now. Thank you very much.